2 years ago, I set out to build myself a V8 Miata, a project which includes squeezing a V8 engine and transmission in a very small car, and in the process, also replacing the cooling system, differential and axles, rear wheel hubs, rewiring the electronics of the car for the new engine, fabricating a whole new exhaust system from scratch, and a lot of miscellaneous cutting and fabrication. But I'm proud to say that the project is now over. I'm Gabriel. I built this car. I'm pretty darn proud of it. There were definitely ups and downs. It was a lot of work, but in the end, I wouldn't change anything. I've loved cars my whole life. I've always liked being creative and building things, and I've always liked expressing myself in the things that I've built. Sometimes that meant being a little outrageous, and sometimes that meant people thinking I was a little crazy. Like a lot of other kids, I grew up idolizing the stories my dad would tell me of him and his muscle car during the muscle car era. And my whole life I've dreamed of the day that I could own such a machine. I have always wanted an American muscle car. But, when I got a chance to try out an MX-5, I quickly realized how much fun a small, nimble, lightweight roadster could be. And then when I was introduced to the idea of taking what makes a muscle car, cold, ruthless American V8 engine, and transplanting that into these lightweight Japanese, nimble, super fun to drive roadsters, I was pretty much hooked. A lot of people think that you need some mad skill and some crazy tools to build a car like this, but honestly, I can tell you that through this build, I taught myself how to take an engine in and out of a car. I taught myself how to weld. I taught myself how a fuel injection system worked. I didn't even know how to put a clutch together when I got into this project. Half the work on this build was done with my very first socket and ratchet set that I bought on sale when I was 16. Sure, if you're a professional, you're 10 steps ahead, but all I'm trying to say is that just because you've never done this before, it doesn't mean that you can't. You go online and you read, and then you go and you try, and then you make mistakes, and then you learn, then you go back and you fix your mistakes, and in the end, it's a great feeling of achievement. To me, this car is proof that when you set your mind on something and you don't give up, you can and do succeed. I'm sure that a question that a lot of people have for me at this point is, was this worth it or not? And it was definitely worth it.
This car is such a blast to drive. Honestly, it totally retains its excitement and its nimble feeling. Except for when you hit the gas, of course, when you get this copious amount of torque that just freaking comes out of nowhere. Like this.
It's hard to describe the experience of driving a V8 Miata. Like all Miatas, its steering is quick and responsive, but a V8 adds an immense amount of torque that lets you slide the back end all day long. It feels absolutely amazing to go out and experience the thrill of this car after 2 years of building, troubleshooting, fixing my own mistakes, and even getting towed home. This little red car really is everything I hoped it would be.
Aside from everything that I've learned and the experience and all that good stuff,
I have this really cool car that I'm really proud to show off and to go enjoy. And for as long as I can keep driving it, I will own this car and I will keep improving it. And I hope to be able to pass it on to my kids one day. Sometimes I just lean back, crack open a beer, I stare at this car and I tell myself, you know, man, this thing is pretty cool, you know. One of my favorite things to do is actually just cruising casually down the road while emitting this ridiculous sound and watching the look on people's faces. And when they're staring at you thinking, is that noise actually coming from that car? It's pretty cool, you know. It's you're kind of like, yeah, that's right. I'm making that noise with this car. For the future, upgraded brakes, roll bar, and definitely a head cam and intake upgrade. You can never really have enough power, you know. At this point, I would say that my personality is pretty much embedded into this car. I've spent so much time working on it and making it mine that, you know, you could almost say that I've built some kind of, you know, relationship with this car. I really love this thing, and it was totally worth it.
Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed the video as much as I like to make it, you might want to consider subscribing. Just saying.